Hey folks, Tim Miller here. I got to tell you, things are getting stranger in this country by the day, which is why your security plan matters so much. Take a look at this one. A
A man
man,
running inside this gas station after being shot in the head after witnessing a car crash at Ford and Vinoy in Garden City.
Help me! Please help me! Please help me!
From his hospital room, Antoine Williams telling us what happened from the start after witnessing the two-car crash and calling 911.
I was walking towards the car to help them out, and guys jumped out the car, started shooting.
I don't even know how to process this. So, Antoine, a good man, is filling his car with gas, sees a crash, recognizes that the crash is substantial, so he goes over to help, and the driver gets out and starts shooting. Well, I didn't show you the rest of the video, but it gets even more bizarre because the gunman, after he shot Antoine, begins to chase him into the service station, into the little the store that's part of the gas station, after he's already shot him. As Antoine runs into the gas station, you can hear he's asking for help. The clerks are saying, lock the door, lock the door. And then in comes the suspect that had already shot him, telling him he's going to kill him. Folks, this is bizarre. Antoine doesn't know the suspect. The suspect doesn't know Antoine. Antoine did nothing but try to help, and yet here he is. And folks, I just can't stress enough how things are changing in the United States. Now, the rest of the story is that the suspect was clearly high on hallucinogenic drugs, clearly not of sound mind, clearly violent, which caused the crash to begin with. And clearly, Antoine was in way more trouble than he ever thought. So as we always do, this is a quick one. Let's look at the before, the during, and the after to figure out, hey, what are some things we might learn from this? And then how do we put them into practice? And let's start with the before. Antoine hears a crash and naturally goes to help. I love men like Antoine because they want to help. But let me say this about today's world. It might be good to sit for a minute or two and watch, because I'm not saying don't get involved, but I'm saying be involved wisely, because maybe Antoine would have seen the subject exiting the vehicle with a weapon acting bizarrely, and maybe that would have caused him to pause, maybe even seek shelter, because he's in a big disadvantage because he's close distance to a guy who's clearly not thinking right. By the way, the police ended up shooting this guy and taking his life because he was doing the same thing with police officers. But the before, maybe we're wise, maybe we're paying attention and we're very careful before we naturally do what many of us would do, which is try to help. Okay, so during the incident, now you're there. You've been shot. It happens like that. We talk about it on the channel. Let me put one really bad rumor to rest right away. Folks, I've known a lot of people that have been shot and they're fine. Take it out of your mind that if you're shot, you're going to die. Put it in your mind the opposite. When I'm shot, I got to move and do what I've got to do. So what did Antoine do? Well, he ran back into a place that he thought he could get help. That's a great move. But the problem was he's still under a threat because you've got an active gunman chasing him. So he goes into the store. It's interesting that the store clerks are saying, lock the door. But an interesting phenomenon happens, and this can happen to you. In the midst of a crisis, he's experiencing what's called auditory exclusion, meaning he can't hear. sometimes your brain is focused on the threat, on what's happening, and it shuts your hearing down, which is why it's so important that we go through the what would I do ifs, what would I do if? Because sometimes if you turn and look, you can reset your hearing and be able to hear really critical things, because it would have been great if he could have listened and locked the door, but he couldn't because he was experiencing auditory exclusion. Plus, he had been wounded in the face. Obviously, not critical, but anytime you take a bullet in the face, it's disorienting. So now he's in the store, and oh, guess what? Here comes the suspect in behind him. Houston, we have a problem now, don't we? So he's seeking cover. He's thinking. He's trying to talk to the suspect. Hey, I didn't do anything. Well, the suspect's delusional. He's still after him. But at some point, something said that causes the suspect to leave. That's a win, right? So now you're in the store. What do you do? Is the threat over? No. It's not over, because that guy's still out there. He's still armed and he's still delusional. Could he come back in the store? Absolutely. You do notice one of the clerks getting out of Dodge. He's just fleeing. He's getting out of there. Well, why? Because he observed that the gunman was fixated on Antoine, so he just chose an opportunity to flee. Good move, bad move? Well, if the guy had turned and shot him, maybe a bad move, but as it turned out, it worked out okay, didn't it? So during the event, Antoine kept his head. He kept responding to the threat, moving. Let me say this very clearly. We train this in tactics and firearms training. If you are moving, you're causing your attacker to have to reset, rethink. We call it OODA loop in the military. Every person in the midst of a conflict is observing. He's orienting himself towards the conflict. He's deciding what he's going to do, and then he's in the process of acting. Well, every time you move, you're forcing your attacker to rethink, reprocess, which gives you just a little bit of time. Antoine does that well. He moves, he's talking, he's trying to distract. And so in the middle of this, he actually did pretty well after the initial shock of something happening that should have never happened. So we've got the before, we've got the during. What about the after? Well, the after is really important, because the after means that it's over, but it's not over until it's over. Does Antoine have his cell phone on him? I don't know. Is there a phone right there that he can use? I don't know. Here's what I know. Folks, it's time to get help coming, because that guy might come back in and hurt you, but he may go out and kill a bunch of other people. So even though you're hurt, it doesn't mean it's over. You're still securing yourself. You're still preparing for the follow-on attack should it come. Maybe it's at that point you go try to lock the door, and everybody's going, Tim, he's been shot. He has been shot, but it's not a fatal wound, and you can fight through wounds even when they're serious. Here's the thing we don't do. We don't stop moving, and we never, never, never give up. Because in Antoine's case, he reacted, he responded well, and now we're to the after part. Well, he's got to have as much information as he can about the suspect to give to police. Yes, he's wounded. Yes, he needs medical care, but he also needs to start self-care, which in this case means grabbing towels, whatever he can, and just holding pressure on that wound. Folks, until EMS gets there, you're your medical provider. That's why we train tactical trauma training, so that you know what to do. For those of you that would carry a weapon, you better have a tourniquet with you. You better be able to self-care for yourself. Listen to me, folks. Now is the time to prepare and train to save yourself, to save others. This kind of stuff's happening all over the country. And here's what I want to leave you with. If you're in the process of going through your daily life with security skills, observation skills, you're alert, you're thinking through what would I do if, maybe you're pausing and you're watching for a minute rather than rushing over to help. Folks, we all do it. When we see an accident, we want to go over and help right away. We have in our minds that people are hurt, they need medical attention. Maybe in today's world, it's a good thing to sit and watch for just a couple minutes to make sure that even that situation is what it appears. Remember that drugs can take someone that is totally normal and can make them a killer, like it did in this, or a near killer, like it did in this situation. So I hope it's helpful. I hope, folks, that you're staying safe out there. These kinds of things, that's why we do what we do. By the way, please like, share, subscribe. Everybody in the country needs this kind of training. That's the purpose of our channel. We're trying to help people. And folks, what I'm telling you to do is not my opinion. Our team's got decades of tactical training experience. In the US, I've been all over the world. I've been in some of the worst spots. And so what I'm sharing with you is information that I don't have to ponder or wonder is good. I know it's good. Now, with that said, I know there are a whole lot of you out there that are highly skilled, highly trained, highly experienced. I would love to learn from you. So please comment, like, share, subscribe, and do me a favor, hit that notification button. I'm told some of my videos aren't getting out, but if you'll help me, we're forming a team of people that will be prepared. Because, folks, I'm not a doomsday person, but I'll tell you, with the rise of the violence that we're seeing, we need to be ready and prepared in 2024. And I hope that's you. I hope that's me. I hope our life is meaningful in that we're willing to go through the hard work of preparation, training, preparing, so that when needed, we'll be the person that not only can help, but can save lives. So I hope this is helpful. Please be safe, be vigilant, be alert out there. And I really do. I look forward to talking with you next time. Take care, my friends.